Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello and very good morning to all of you. I hope you are safe and sound. Welcome to Melly's Telegram classes. This is the grammar lesson for advanced level. Now that we have talked about cleft sentences, today we're going to talk about what a pseudo cleft sentence is. A pseudo cleft sentence is a kind of cleft sentence in which the subordinate clause, when I say subordinate clause, it means dependent clause, is a relative clause. A relative clause, as you have studied, is the second name for an adjective clause, headed by an interrogative word such as. So a pseudo cleft sentence is really an adjective clause that starts with an interrogative word like what, who, where, when, etc. The most commonly used one is what? Out of all these interrogative words, the most common one is what. It is also called WH cleft sentence because it starts with WH words or interrogative words. The second name of a pseudo cleft sentence is WH cleft sentence. And do not forget that it is a type of cleft sentence. It can be used to emphasize any word of the sentence. If you remember, I had told you that a cleft sentence is used to emphasize every word of a sentence except for the verb. But the good thing about pseudo cleft sentences is that it can emphasize any word in a sentence, including the verb. For example, what she wants is extra money. In this sentence, I have emphasized extra money. Do not forget that in a pseudo cleft sentence, the word which comes after the to be verb is emphasized, no matter if we have one word or more than one word. Like where she goes is a lonely place. In this sentence, we have emphasized a lonely place. Monday is when they are going to come. Now here we have emphasized Monday. This is another variation of a pseudo cleft sentence. And I'm going to talk about them. Now let's talk about where we use the following WH words. What is used to emphasize a person, a thing, or an action. Now it is a little bit surprising because we have studied that what is usually used for things, right? But in pseudo cleft sentences, we can also use it for a person, a thing, or an action. Who is used to emphasize only a person. Where is used to emphasize a place. When is used to emphasize a time. And as I told you earlier, the most common one of them is what. For example, who she talks to is your mother. This sentence means your mother is who she talks to. What she needs is complete rest. You can also say the same sentence like this. Complete rest is what she needs. Where I went is the Great Canyon. You can also say the Great Canyon is where I went. In both the sentences, I have emphasized the Great Canyon. When she died was May 2017. You can also say May 2017 was when she died. Remember, we can emphasize the followings using pseudo cleft sentence. As I told you earlier, that we can emphasize any word in a sentence using a pseudo cleft sentence. Specifically, number one, the subject of a sentence. For example, water has no color. If you emphasize the subject of the sentence, which is water, you can say, what has no color is water. So what is emphasized in that sentence? Water, which is the subject of the first sentence. Mr. Karimi called the meeting. Mr. Karimi is the subject, and if you want to emphasize it, you can say, who called the meeting was Mr. Karimi. The second thing that we can emphasize using a pseudo cleft sentence is the object. For example, she eats an apple. In this sentence, an apple is the object, and you can use a pseudo cleft sentence to emphasize it. So, what she eats is an apple. We learned cleft sentence. Cleft sentence is the object. You can say what we learned was cleft sentence. The third thing is the complement of a sentence. For example, she is the queen. In this sentence, the queen is the complement. It's not the object. And if you want to emphasize it, you can say who or what. If you remember, I told you that what is used to talk about a person, place, or an action. So do not get surprised if we use what for a person. Who or what she is the queen. 2 times is. And between them, we use a comma. The first is a part of the noun clause or the nominal clause, and the second is used to complete the predicate of the whole sentence. It is a laptop. So what it is a laptop. And the fourth thing that is emphasized using a pseudo-cleft sentence is a gerund. For example, he enjoys hunting. You can say what he enjoys is hunting. Or, we liked swimming. Swimming is a gerund. If you want to emphasize it, you can say, what we liked was swimming. Do not forget that this sentence has the past tense. That's why you have to use the past tense and the past verb. The fifth thing is an infinitive. For example, I want to travel. If you want to emphasize to travel, you can say, what I want is to travel. So, what do I want? To travel. They decided to get married. Married is a part of the infinitive to get. So what they decided was to get married. The sixth thing is verb. Now, if you remember, in cleft sentence, we did not emphasize a verb, but we can use a pseudo-cleft sentence to emphasize a verb. For example, she memorized the dictionary. Here, I want to emphasize memorize. So what do I need to say? What, because we use for actions or verbs what. What she did. Instead of memorize, you have to use did. What she did was, now we have did, that's why we cannot say memorized. We have to say memorize. Memorize the dictionary. Okay, Sarah learns grammar. Now here we have the present tense. So we have to say what she does. You cannot say what she did. For the present, it's obvious that we have to use does or do. So what she does is learn grammar. You cannot say learns grammar because you already know that whenever we have does, we cannot use s with the main verb. Remember, to emphasize a verb, we use what? Do, does, did. Do and does in the present and did in the past. And it's clear that do and does can also be used to talk about the future as the verb of noun clause. Let's do an exercise. Emphasize the underlined words in the given sentences. So here are some sentences, and in each sentence I have underlined some words. You have to make pseudo-cleft sentences for those underlined words. Let me do the first one. Mr. Amiri loves teaching. So if you see that the underlined words are Mr. Amiri and teaching. Mr. Amiri is the subject and teaching is the gerund. So if you want to emphasize Mr. Amiri, you have to say who, right? Instead of Mr. Amiri, say who. Who loves teaching, okay? What is Mr. Amiri? If you want to emphasize teaching, you have to say what Mr. Amiri loves. Instead of teaching, you have to say what. What Mr. Amiri loves is teaching. Good luck with the rest of them. Now let's talk about the answers. Number 2. My one met his friend last night. Who met his friend last night was my one. Do not say is my one. For his friend, you can say who my one met last night was his friend. And for last night, because it's a time expression, we have to say when. When my one met his friend was last night. 3. Shapur teaches English. Who teaches English is Shapur. For English, you can say what, because it's a thing, right? Or an idea, you have to say what. What Shapur teaches is English. Number 4. She sang a song at the party last night. So, what she sang at the party last night was a song. When she sang a song at the party was last night, for the time expression. And for at the party, since it's a kind of place expression, we have to say where. Where she sang a song last night was the party. 5. Ibadullah admits killing the deer. Who admits killing the deer is Ibadullah. You have to say is, not was, because we have admits. Alright. What Ibadullah admits is killing the deer. Right? Alright. Or what Ibadullah admits killing is the deer. 6. Sarah wants to get her MBA. So, what Sarah wants to do is get her MBA, right? And number 7, Tahir is the trainer. So who Tahir is the trainer. You have to use is twice. This concludes our session for today. Do not forget that there is an exercise attached to the same video. Remember, this was just a short version of our today's lesson. The same lesson is taught in complete details in our regular classes. Thank you for being with us.